Hey guys, tonight we bury someone. Not just anyone your wife. It's Christmas Eve. And instead of unwrapping gifts or watching some feel-good garbage movie, for the 20th time you're standing ankle-deep in snow with a shovel in your hand and a pit in your chest. Yeah, this one's not gonna be gentle. The cemetery is hushed, not out of reverence, just thick white silence. The kind only snow can deliver. Even the birds seem to know not to interrupt this moment. You kneel, brush away the snow from the marker that bears her name, and exhale the kind of breath that has a scream hidden inside. So before you get comfortable, take a moment to like the video and subscribe. But only if you genuinely enjoy what I do here. And while you're at it, post your location and local time in the comments. Let's see who else is spending their evening wandering into grief with me. Now dim the lights, maybe turn on a fan for that soft background hum, and let's ease into tonight's journey together. You lower her down yourself. That wasn't the plan, but nothing has followed the plan lately. You'd think the funeral director would have stopped you, but no, he saw something in your eyes that said, "Don't mess with this man's last act of love." Or maybe he just didn't want the paperwork. Her casket thuds softly against the earth beneath the grave liner. It's a sound you'll hear in dreams you won't remember. And just like that, she's gone. Or more accurately, further gone. You stand there too long. Long enough for the gravedigger to gently clear his throat and ask if you need help. Long enough for the frost to chew through your boots and sting your toes. Long enough for your brain to try and lie to you. Maybe this is a dream. Maybe you'll wake up and find her humming. In the kitchen, singing off-key to some 80s ballad she still swore was underrated. But you don't. You turn away. You trudge toward your car, the world around you as still as a painting. The kind that makes you squint, wondering if anything in it is real. Here's a fun historical side note, fun in the loosest sense of the word. Did you know Queen Victoria wore mourning black for 40 years after Prince Albert died? 40 years? That's dedication or emotional masochism, depending on how you frame it. You're barely 30 minutes into yours. The windshield fogs up before you even turn the engine. You sit there watching the condensation bloom on the glass, like a time-lapse of your own emotions, sudden, unpredictable, and impossible to stop. There's a crumpled tissue in your pocket, the last one she used in the hospital. Still faintly scented with the lavender balm, she dabbed on her temples when she was nauseous. You don't throw it away. Of course not. You hold it like it's glass and grief at the same time. Now comes the drive home. Not long, but long enough to regret surviving her. The heater blows hot, but doesn't touch the cold in your ribs. The radio mercifully is off. Even the idea of hearing "Have Yourself a Merry Little Christmas" feels like it might cause spontaneous combustion. Historians still argue whether humans began domesticating dogs 15,000 or 30,000 years ago. Doesn't matter now, but your dog knows something is wrong. He meets you at the door, ears pinned back, tail hesitant. He doesn't jump, he doesn't lick. Just presses his warm body against your leg like he's trying to hold up the tower of you. The hallway is too quiet. Her slippers are still where she left them, slightly askew, like she'd just stepped out to grab something from the kitchen. You don't move them. You step around them like they're sacred. Her coat is still on the hook, the red one she loved, even though you always said it made her look like a traffic light. She wore it anyway. She always did things her way, even when her way included singing into a hairbrush at 7 a.m. or rearranging furniture without telling you to surprise you, she'd say. And it worked. You were surprised. You stubbed your toe twice that year. You go to the kitchen out of habit, not hunger. The kettle is still on the stove, though the tea bags are 2 weeks expired. She didn't get to finish her last box of Earl Grey. You boil water anyway. It feels like honoring her in some tiny, pathetic way. A clock ticks somewhere. You never noticed it ticking before. Strange how grief amplifies the background noise and mutes everything else. Here's something weird. Ancient Egyptians used crocodile dung as sunscreen. Seriously. Maybe the idea was if you smell like danger, danger won't mess with you. Kind of like how you're living now, wrapped in your own stink of loss, hoping the universe will leave you alone. You make your tea, don't drink it, just hold the cup. The heat is the closest thing to human contact you've felt in hours. You sit on the couch and stare at the blinking lights on the tree. She put them up the week before she passed. Said we're still having Christmas, even if it's not merry. You didn't argue, not because you agreed, but because you couldn't stand the thought of wasting your last days with her in some pointless debate over tinsel. Outside snow begins to fall again. Gentle, weightless like time itself, has decided to move in slow motion out of respect. It's almost midnight now, the hour between days, between before and after, between her breath and her absence. You close your eyes and try not to cry. Again, but this time it doesn't work. You wake up on the couch, not because you slept well, because your neck is throbbing and your tea has gone stone cold beside you. It's still dark outside. That half-light between night and morning where time feels fake or broken. The Christmas lights blink silently, mockingly. There's wrapping paper on the floor, her last attempt at joy. You were supposed to open it together. A scarf. She hinted for weeks. Soft but not boring, she said, like you when you're half asleep. You shuffle to the bedroom where the bed is made too perfectly. You haven't touched it since the hospital. One side of the mattress has her imprint faint, but there. You lie down on top of the blanket, shoes and all, and stare at the ceiling fan. It doesn't move, neither do you. There's this theory. Some scientists think we dream not just to sort memory, but to simulate grief. To practice losing people so we're better prepared for the real thing. But nothing, absolutely nothing prepared you for this. A picture frame on the nightstand winks at you in the moonlight. Your wedding photo. Her smile is slightly off-center, like she was holding in a secret. Probably was. She always had that mischievous streak. The same streak that convinced you to skinny dip in a freezing lake on your honeymoon, because we'll remember it forever. Spoiler alert, you do. Historians still argue whether the Roman Saturnalia was truly the origin of Christmas gift-giving, or just a happy accident of cultural blending. But what's certain is that the Romans understood something about grief and celebration eating. They had festivals that honored the dead with feasts. Maybe they knew mourning and memory should share a table. You don't eat breakfast, just drink the reheated tea from last night. Even though it tastes like cardboard and old ghosts, the dog whines near the door. He wants out, wants normal, wants the rhythm back. But the world doesn't make sense yet. Still, you open the door. The porch groans beneath your feet. It's snowing again. Of course it is. You shovel out a small path for the dog, though every movement feels like you're pushing against the weight of 1,000 regrets. Your back aches, your fingers sting, you don't care. And that's when it happens. The knock. It's quiet, but sharp 3 distinct raps on the front door. You freeze snow sticking to your sleeves. This isn't a time for visitors. You half expect it to be some delivery mistake. Or a well-meaning neighbor, maybe the preacher. You steel yourself for another pitying smile, another round of she's in a better place. You open the door. She's small, old, wrapped in a coat that looks older than her. Her cheeks are red with wind, and her gray hair peeks from beneath a knit cap. But what stops you cold, really cold, is her eyes. They're your wife's eyes. Not metaphorically, not spiritually. Literally the same color, same shape, same everything. I have something for you, she says. Her voice is low, warm, like honey drizzled over a knife. You blink. You haven't said anything yet. She holds out a yellowed envelope. From her, the woman adds, "She asked me to wait until today. You take it. It feels like holding fire." Your name is written in your wife's handwriting, sharp and loopy, like she always signed holiday cards. You look up, but the woman is already walking away. No goodbye, no name. Just her boots crunching down the driveway. You call out wait, but your voice catches like your throat is trying to strangle the moment. She doesn't turn back. She disappears around the corner like she was never there. You stare at the envelope. It trembles in your hand. There's a small tear on one edge as if she sealed it in a rush. There's no return address, just your name. You sit on the front step. Snow gathers in your hair. Your dog nudges your leg confused. So are you. Finally, you open it. The paper is creased thin. Familiar perfume clings to it, vanilla, and clove the scent of her winter scarf. And the first line, "You're probably mad I made you read this, instead of telling you in person, but come on, you know me." Drama queen until the end. You laugh, out loud. The sound scares a bird from the tree. It's her, not a copy, not an echo. Her exact tone, her favorite jokes. Her little guilt-tripping smile, pressed between the syllables. The letter goes on. She recounts the hospital days, but with the tenderness she saved just for you. She remembers how you kissed her hand when you thought she was asleep. She remembers the story you told her about the Viking funeral you'd give her if you could. Here's your quirky fact for the night in Viking tradition elite funerals. Sometimes included launching the deceased out to sea on a burning ship. It wasn't as common as movies suggest, but it did happen. Just don't try it at the local lake. Her letter drifts into memories you thought only you cherished. The time you both got caught in the rain and danced anyway. The dinner where you proposed but dropped the ring in the mashed potatoes. But then she writes something else. "There's something you don't know. Something I never told you. I wanted to, but I was afraid you'd think less of me. Or worse, love me less. And now that I'm gone, maybe you'll finally understand why I had to hide it." You stop reading. The wind howls through the trees. The snow has turned to sleet. You fold the letter carefully, press it to your chest, and whisper, "What did you do?" And that's when the dog barks. Once, sharp, alert. You turn your head, and the woman is back, standing in the middle of the driveway like she never left. You don't move. She's just standing there. Same coat, same knit hat, same uncanny eyes. The snow hasn't even melted from her shoulders yet, like time hasn't passed for her the way it just did for you. You rise slowly, the letter still clenched in your hand. Your breath comes out in puffs harsh and fast. "Who are you?" you ask. She doesn't smile, but something about her face softens. "Someone who owed her a promise," she says simply. "And now I've kept it." Mostly, you take a step forward. The dog whines beside you. He doesn't bark again, but he doesn't wag either. Just stares at her like she's a fire he can't decide to fear or curl beside. The woman holds out her hand. Not toward you, toward the door. "Can I come in?" Logic is screaming absolutely not. But grief is lonely, reckless, and curious. And you've just read the first page of a letter that rewired your brain. You nod. Inside, she removes her hat and coat with deliberate care. She doesn't ask where to put them. She hangs them exactly where your wife used to hang hers. Of course she does. You gesture toward the couch. She sits, upright, like she's preparing for a funeral or a performance or both. You knew her, you finally ask. She nods in a way. Then you know she never mentioned you. That's how she wanted it. You feel your spine bristle. That's not how marriage works. Now she does smile, but it's a sad one. She said you'd say that. You always had a thing for order. You bristle, but you don't interrupt. She leans forward, resting her hands on her knees. Look, I know this is hard to believe, but the letter, that's not the only one. There's more. She wrote them across years, hid them, left them with people, made arrangements. Some are with strangers, some with friends you never met. And all of them are meant for you. You blink. The words sound too cinematic, too plotted. Why would she do that? She said you wouldn't let yourself grieve all at once, that you'd bottle it. So she made sure you couldn't. She called it emotional sabotage. That does sound like her. Too clever, too loving, too mischievous. Historians still argue whether Cleopatra's final death plan was poetic design or tragic desperation. The ace up in the basket or the dagger in the sleeve. Either way, she orchestrated her end with drama. Just like your wife is orchestrating your afterlife now. You're not angry, not really. You're something else. Something like awe or panic or both. So how many letters, you ask? The woman hesitates. Enough. And each one's tied to something. A memory, a regret, a place. She reaches into her coat, which she's somehow retrieved without your noticing, and pulls out a second envelope. You take it slower this time. The handwriting is hers again, but a little shakier. The date on the top corner is from 3 years ago. You open it. Inside is a single line. Remember the time we got lost in Portland, and I said it didn't matter where we ended up as long as we were together. You do. You'd been miserable. Wet socks, dead phone hungry. She'd been beaming like it was a honeymoon rerun. She says the woman interjects you're supposed to go back there. To Portland. She booked a train ticket in your name. It leaves tomorrow. You let out a disbelieving laugh. You expect me to follow clues now, like it's a scavenger hunt. She shrugs. Not me, her. I just kept the promise. Here's your quirky tidbit. In Victorian England, there was a brief trend of memento mori jewelry, brooches, rings, and even lockets made with hair from deceased loved ones. Physical grief worn on the body. Your wife, she went digital. Emotional grief delivered like time bombs. You look down at the second letter. You don't cry this time. You don't laugh either. You feel. For the first time since that last breath in the hospital, you feel something that isn't just survival. You'll be back, the woman says, already putting on her coat. You're not going to explain anything else. She shakes her head. That's not part of the plan. You hate spoilers. She opens the door. The wind kicks snow across the floor. You don't stop her. She looks back once. Oh, and don't forget to check the coat. Your breath catches. Her coat? But she's already gone. Again. You rush to the hallway, grab the red winter coat still hanging, exactly where she left it. You dig through the pockets. Nothing. Then you remember she always stitched notes inside the lining when she was hiding stuff from airport customs. Security's too lazy to check seams, she used to joke. You turn the coat inside out, and there it is. A zipper. You open it. Inside another letter, and this time a photograph of her at a cabin, a place you don't recognize. She's smiling, but not for the camera, for you. Like she knows you're going to see this one day. You clutch the photo, read the envelope. This one says don't go there yet. You'll know when. You close your eyes. The house is quiet, except the soft creak of the floorboard where she used to stand just outside the kitchen. It creaks. Once the creak fades. You stay frozen, hand still on the coat, unsure if you actually heard it or just needed to. That's the thing about grief. It plays your memories like reruns and your senses like a haunted house. Every sound becomes a maybe, every shadow a question. You stare at the photograph from the coat for a long time. The cabin behind her is nestled in pine trees, sunlight flaring off the roof. You want to Google it. You don't. Something in you says not yet. And besides, the letter was clear you'll know when. You're not ready to chase ghosts, not yet. So you unfold the second letter, the one that came before the coat clue. It's longer than the first. Her handwriting is messier. Maybe she cried while writing. Or maybe she wrote it on a bumpy bus. She did that, sometimes wandered off for the day, and came back with stories that made you feel like you'd missed out on a private concert of the universe. Let me tell you about Prague. It begins. You blink. Prague. I never told you I went, she writes, because I didn't plan to. I was supposed to be in Paris, but I missed my train, and instead of going home, I booked a last-minute overnight bus. Just to say I'd done something spontaneous. Of course she did. It was cold, bone-deep cold, and the hotel was a disaster, creaky. Floorboards, a radiator that wheezed like it was haunted, and a front desk clerk who looked like she'd poisoned someone recently. You smile, but that night, she continues, I wandered into the old city. I was lost, snow falling, no map, no signal, and I found a tiny shop tucked into an alley with flickering lanterns and a cracked sign that said, Fate reads here. You raise an eyebrow. This is either going full fairy tale or full tourist trap. You lean in anyway. She was there, the woman. Same eyes she has now. Older, yes, but unmistakable. She didn't ask for money, just said, You came to find a truth you haven't asked for yet. I laughed. She didn't. You glance up, heart quickening. So it really was her. I sat down. She held my hand, closed her eyes, and told me something that froze me more than the snow ever could. You exhale slowly, like that'll stop your pulse from spiking. She said you will die in winter, quietly, but you will leave behind a map, and he will follow it if he still loves you. Silence in your house now, so quiet you can hear your heartbeat against your eardrums. Of course, I thought she was nuts, but part of me filed it away, just in case. And when I got sick years later, I remembered her. I remembered that map. So I made one. You reread the line 3 times. So, she made a map. Not just a metaphorical one, a real one. A breadcrumb trail through her past, through your love. Quirky historical fact for this section. Okay, here you go. During the 1600s, sailors sometimes got tattoos, not just for art or rebellion, but as literal instructions. Cut along this line. Bury me at sea. Human skin turned into maps. Your wife. She didn't need ink. She used time. The letter goes on. I started writing letters the day I got my diagnosis. 1 a month, sometimes more. Depending on the pain, depending on the fear. You were my favorite secret to write. I always hoped you'd find the right one at the right time. You feel your throat tighten. I know you. You're going to resist this. You're going to say it's a trap or too dramatic. But here's the truth. Love, you are the only person alive, stubborn enough to mourn me on a schedule. That gets you. You laugh again. Not because it's funny, because it's perfectly her. I asked her, yes, the woman from Prague, if you'd forgive me for all this. for dragging out your grief, and she said, "He will curse your name, then wear it like armor." She was right, you're doing both right now. Historians still argue whether Nostradamus was a prophet or just a savvy astrologer with a knack for vague wording. But one thing's for sure, the power of suggestion sticks. This woman, this stranger with your wife's eyes, planted a suggestion in your wife's mind over a decade ago, and your wife watered it until it bloomed into this haunting farewell. The letter closes with a P.S. Your next clue isn't far, it's in the painting you hate. Your head jerks. The painting, you know exactly which one. The gaudy canvas she insisted on hanging in the hallway. Abstract swirls of gold and red and a tree that looked like it was melting. You always said it gave you vertigo. You leave the coat still half inside out and walk to the hall. It's hanging crooked. Hadn't noticed that before. Your heart skips. You lift it off the wall. It's heavier than it should be. There's something taped to the back. Brown envelope. Old Scotch tape curling at the edges. Your name again. You peel it off gently, scared it might crumble. You open it. Inside a map. Hand-drawn. Sloppy but precise. Her style. A trail winding through pine trees. An X on a cabin. And a single sentence scribbled below. When the snow stops go, you look out the window. The sky is clearing. You don't even need to check the forecast. The snow has stopped, like someone upstairs, if you believe in that kind of thing, was waiting for you to finish the letter, to turn over the painting to find the map. You stare out the window at the frozen world beyond the glass. The sky is pale, drained of color, the way it always looks. After a storm finishes yelling, everything is muffled under a white hush. And you're standing in your hallway, holding a hand-drawn map like you're Indiana Jones with a side of midlife crisis. You pack without realizing you're packing. A backpack, clothes, her scarf. You grab the photo of the cabin, compare it to the X on the map. It matches, down to the crooked pine tree out front. She wasn't kidding. You leave the dishes in the sink. The lights on the tree still blinking. It feels appropriate. A shrine. The dog watches you from the doorway, tail low, eyes curious. You hesitate, then pat your thigh. Come on. He trots over without a second thought. Loyalty on 4 legs. Honestly, he's the most emotionally stable one in this whole operation. The drive begins in silence. The road winds through forests and sleepy towns she used to love. You remember bits and pieces, rest stops, where she insisted on buying mystery snacks, scenic overlooks, where she forced you to take photos even when you grumbled. Now every billboard feels haunted. Every song that shuffles on the radio is the song. You don't even skip them anymore. You let them play. Every note, every word. It's like she loaded your playlist before she left. Somewhere near the state line, you stop for gas. The cashier, a kid who looks like he hasn't blinked in 3 days, stares at your map when it slips from your pocket. Going to Goldleaf Ridge, he asks. You pause. What? He points to the cabin sketch. That's what it's called. At least around here. You never heard her say that name. Used to be part of a mining town, the kid adds, ringing up a bag of chips you didn't remember grabbing. People still go up there. Artists mostly. Weirdos. You smirk. She was both. Then she picked the right spot. Back in the car, you Google it, Goldleaf Ridge. A blip on the map. Population fluctuating. History brief. Once a booming copper spot in the 1800s, now just forest memories, and the occasional off-grid Airbnb. Historians still argue whether the westward expansion of America was driven more by opportunity or desperation. Truth is, for most people, it was both. Seems fitting. You're doing the same, chasing something between hope and heartbreak. You pull off the main road tires crunching against icy gravel. The trees thicken. Shadows stretch longer. The sun begins to dip behind the ridgeline. You drive slower now, partly from nerves, partly from not wanting this part to end too soon. The GPS loses signal. You switch to the map she drew. Follow the turn by turn like it's a spell. Right at the crooked pine. Left after the fallen sign. Follow the stream until the path narrows. Finally you see it. The cabin, tucked between two hills, nearly camouflaged by snow-dusted branches. The porch sags slightly. One shutter hangs lopsided. Smoke curls from the chimney. Wait, smoke. Your pulse quickens. You weren't expecting company. The dog barks once low and wary. You park, step out, crunch through snow. Knock on the door. No answer. You knock again. The wood echoes beneath your knuckles. Still nothing. You reach for the knob, unsure if this is the dumbest or bravest thing you've done since eating her 3-alarm chili. You twist. It's unlocked. The door creaks open. Inside it's warm, cozy even. A fire crackles in the hearth. A kettle steams gently on the stove. There's no one in sight, but her touch is everywhere. The same quilt from your guest room. The chipped mug she refused to throw away. A stack of her notebooks bound in leather filled with bookmarks. You step inside slowly. The air smells like cedar and lavender, like her. Your dog sniffs the floor, tail flicking. He trots to the table. There's a note. One line, written in that unmistakable scrawl. Upstairs, play me. You follow the narrow staircase, heart thudding with each creak. The attic is small with slanted ceilings and a single window looking out over the pines. In the center, a small television and a portable DVD player. You sit, press play. The screen flickers, static, then her face. She's wearing that red coat. Sitting in this very room. A year younger, maybe 2. Her hair is longer. Her eyes, they shine. Hi, love, she says. If you're watching this, congrats. You solved one piece of my very dramatic, possibly annoying puzzle. She smiles. You always told me I should have been a playwright, so I figured I'd give you a tragedy with intermissions. She looks away for a moment, gathers herself. I came here after my second diagnosis. Needed quiet, needed space. I bought this place with some savings. Didn't tell you. Not because I didn't love you, but because I needed something that was mine. One last secret, one last surprise. You wipe your face. You didn't even notice the tears this time. I wrote the letters here, filmed these videos. Thought maybe if I couldn't stay, at least I could leave you something that did. The screen glitches, but her voice keeps going. I don't want you to just grieve me. I want you to follow me, not like a ghost, but like a story, like an author chasing the ending. She leans in as if through time. There's more. Of course there is. She winks. Then the screen goes black, and you're alone again. But not really. You stay sitting long. After the screen goes black, the attic feels different now, like it's still echoing her voice in the corners, as if the walls themselves were holding their breath while she spoke. You stare at the DVD player like it might suddenly start playing again, like she might have one more message tucked in just for you, but it doesn't, and she doesn't. Eventually you move, because you have to. Because grief is boring like that, it demands constant motion just to stop yourself from collapsing into stillness. Back downstairs, you find a fire still flickering and a mug waiting beside it. You don't know who lit it, if it was the stranger or if this cabin somehow runs on fairy tale logic. You sit anyway. The dog curls beside you, resting his head on your foot, like he's decided this is home. You can't blame him. You glance at the pile of notebooks, old worn her signature, etched into the leather of the first. You flip one open. The first page reads, "To the version of you I never got to meet." You stop breathing for a second. I mean the you after me, it continues. The one I always hoped would exist. The one who figured out how to live again after everything. I don't know if you'll like him, but I hope you do. You shut the notebook. That's enough for now. In the kitchen you find another letter. This one's taped to the inside of the pantry door. Of course it is. Because hiding things in strange places was her love language. You remember that one time she left you a post-it in your shoe that read, "Go get 'em hot stuff before your job interview." You limped all the way through it with a smile on your face. You unfold the pantry letter. She starts lighter this time. "Remember when I pretended to love that one movie you were obsessed with, just so we could have popcorn and make out without talking?" You laugh sudden and sharp. "It wasn't good, babe. The movie, I mean. But your face when the spaceship exploded worth every second." The levity fades as her words turn. "But there's something I never told you. Something I was afraid would hurt you even if it shouldn't." You feel your muscles tense. She was always fearless, except when it came to hurting you. She could stare down a diagnosis like it was a rude waiter, but God forbid she risk making you sad. You remember how I used to call out in my sleep sometimes. Yes, you remember. She always said it was nonsense. Dreams about missing the bus or dropping her phone into a volcano. But sometimes she said a name, one that wasn't yours. I lied, the letter says plainly. There was someone before you. Of course there was, you knew that. But there was one I loved. A boy I met in college. He was not kind, not gentle. But I didn't know the difference back then. When he left, I was gutted, and I carried that with me. Not because I still loved him, but because I hated how much of myself I gave to someone who didn't deserve it. You don't feel angry, just sad. Sad she ever had to carry that, alone. Sometimes, even after I found you, the wound would ache, like a ghost limb. I didn't tell you because I didn't want you to think less of me, or worse, feel like you had to fix it. She continues the letter now, folding in on itself like a confession, collapsing into grace. You didn't fix me. You didn't need to. You just loved me. And that was better. Historians still argue whether the Greek myth of Orpheus and Eurydice is a tragedy about love or a warning about doubt. You've always leaned toward the latter, because if Orpheus had just trusted, he wouldn't have lost her. But now you're seeing it differently. Maybe the point wasn't about trust. Maybe it was about letting go, even when it hurts like hell. Your wife, your late wife, has done something that would make even the Greeks jealous. She's turned her death into a multi-act story. And here you are performing it, scene by scene. You stand in the cabin, look around, notice the small things. Her mug with the chipped rim, the crooked photo of you, both from your 3rd anniversary, how the frame is cracked, but she taped it from the back like it was a badge of honor. There's a window seat in the corner. You never saw it in the photo. You sit there now. Snow starts falling again outside, and then, because of course your phone buzzes, no signal, no service, but one new notification, a calendar reminder. Open the drawer. You check the date. It was scheduled a year ago, her doing. You walk to the drawer near the fireplace, pull it open. Inside a flash drive, red plastic, labeled in Sharpie. If you've made it this far, I'm proud of you. You plug it into your laptop. It takes a moment to load. Inside photos, videos, more letters. But one folder catches your eye. Portland. You click. There's a video only 2 minutes long, dated 3 years ago. She's sitting in a cafe. You recognize it. The one where you argued about who made the better latte. She's sipping tea. talking to someone off camera, and then she turns to the lens. "Hey love, I figured you'd find this eventually. I just wanted to say you were always enough, even when I didn't know how to say it." She reaches forward, touches the lens, keep going, the screen fades, and this time you cry harder than you have since the hospital. Not because she's gone, but because somehow she stayed. You fall asleep on the window seat with the laptop open beside you, the screen dimmed to black, but still warm. It hums softly, like it's still holding onto her voice. The dog sleeps curled at your feet, twitching in his dreams. Maybe chasing her, maybe chasing you. When you wake, it's late morning. Light floods the cabin through the crooked blinds. The snow outside has turned to slush. It's warmer now, the kind of warm that tricks you into thinking spring is just around the corner, even though it isn't. You stretch, crack your neck, and the world clicks back into place, just slightly askew. The dog nudges you with his nose, and you mutter, Yeah, breakfast." But your voice cracks halfway through. It still doesn't sound like you. You stumble into the kitchen, boil water, like she used to, but it doesn't taste the same. You find her stash of weird teas, licorice root dandelion hibiscus, none of which you ever liked, but now you hold the boxes like they're relics from a forgotten religion. There's a notebook on the counter, one you didn't notice yesterday. A sticky note on top reads, "Don't skip this one, seriously." You open it half expecting it to be blank like a test, but no, she's written it in full. Not to you, but about you. Page after page, describing moments she remembered that you didn't. The time you bandaged her finger after she sliced it peeling apples. How you once made her laugh so hard she cried during a thunderstorm. That morning she watched you sleep in and decided, yes, this one, this is my home. It's like watching your life through her eyes and seeing someone you didn't know you were. Or maybe forgot you were. Then comes a page where the handwriting shifts, wobbly, faint. "I was scared to tell you about her." The page reads. You freeze. Her. "She came back to find me a few years ago, the woman from Prague. She was older now, or maybe she never aged. She found me at a bookstore and said, 'It's almost time.' And I knew. I didn't ask what she meant. I just knew." You sit down, hard. Because now this is becoming something else. Not just grief, not just love. This is what prophecy fantasy, or just a woman who planned so far ahead it feels like magic. "She gave me a box," the letter continues, "said not to open it until I couldn't bear the pain anymore. When I finally did, it was empty." You blink, but I still cried. Because that's when I realized she was never going to tell me how it ends. Just that you would. What does that mean? You would tell her how it ends. There's no answer in the notebook, just a folded piece of paper tucked into the back. It's a receipt for a bookstore in Portland, dated the day she said she saw the woman again. The same day she started writing the Portland video file. You check your bag. The original Portland letter she left behind is still there. You unfold it again, just to make sure you're not missing anything. There's a note you hadn't seen before, faint scrawled in the corner like a secret, meant only for your second read. She told me I had one more message to send, but I needed you to be the one to find it. You check the flash drive again. This time you explore every folder. In one labeled fragments, you find an audio file. You press play, her voice again this time whispering, "Hey babe, if you're listening to this, you've followed all my ridiculous clues. Sorry about that. Or not sorry, I mean, you married me, you knew what you were getting." You chuckle, it's involuntary. "I want to tell you something I never said out loud, because I was afraid it would sound too big, too final." She pauses. You hear her exhale. "I loved you. Not in the say it every morning way, even though I did, but in the quiet, epic, cosmic way. The kind of love that doesn't stop just because breathing does. You close your eyes. I believe in you, even if you don't. I believe you'll find your way, your rhythm, your peace. And if you stumble, just know there's no shame in that. But don't stop. The sound cuts off with a soft click. That's it. No goodbye this time, no flourish, just silence, intentional and loud. You sit for a long time. Here's your historical oddity for the day. In 1927, a time capsule was buried in Detroit that contained letters to the future. Inside were predictions, some laughable, some hauntingly accurate. But the point wasn't to be right, it was to reach, to leave behind a voice for someone not yet born, not yet hurting, not yet healing. Your wife did the same. She left you a time capsule. Except it wasn't a box, it was you, and you're only now starting to unearth it. The fire's out now. The dog is restless again. You open the front door. Fresh snow. Again. Because of course. You step out, and on the porch is another envelope. Not weathered. Fresh, as if it was just placed there. You look left, look right. No one. Inside the envelope. A single sentence. You're almost ready. That night you dream of her. But not the sick version. She's laughing in the red coat, spinning in the snow, and she's calling your name, not crying, it not whispering it, but calling it like a song. And in the dream you run toward her, but you don't catch up, not yet. You wake up with her name still on your lips. It's not dramatic, not like in movies where someone bolts upright gasping. It's slower, softer, like surfacing from warm water into winter air. Your body knows before your brain does she was there. And the weirdest part, you don't cry. Not this time. You dress with care. Not out of vanity, your shirt is wrinkled, your shoes mismatched, but with a kind of reverence. Like preparing for a ceremony no one will witness but you. There's one more letter in the backpack, folded into your sock drawer because she knew you'd pack like a disaster. The envelope is darker, thicker, her handwriting is shaky, a little smudged. You open it. This one is different, more direct, more urgent. I need you to do something you swore you wouldn't. You freeze. I need you to go to the place you said you'd never return. Your stomach tightens. You already know the place. You don't even need her to say it. It's the hospital, where she died. You swore you'd never set foot in that building again. Not because of the medicine, or the machines, or even the people, but because that hallway, the one outside her room, stole something from you. Something invisible but vital. The last good part of yourself. But now she's asking, I left something there, the letter continues. And I know that sounds crazy, but I did. She adds a drawing, a crude sketch. Room 214, stairwell, utility closet on the 3rd floor, behind a false panel. You stare at it like it's a treasure map drawn by a ghost. She told me about the panel the letter reads. The woman, the same one, said you'd be ready to open it only when I was gone, and not a minute before. Historians still argue whether Rasputin truly had prophetic visions, or whether his fame was simply a byproduct of charisma and political convenience. Either way, one thing's clear, people believed him. Sometimes belief changes more than truth ever could. You're not sure what you believe anymore. But you're driving there. The hospital is 2 hours away. Long enough for doubt to creep in, but not long enough for you to turn back. You arrive just before noon. The building hasn't changed. The same cracked pavement in the parking lot. The same automatic doors that hesitate just long enough to make you wonder if they'll open for you. They do. The receptionist glances up, smiles like she hasn't memorized your face from the worst day of your life. That's a mercy. Or maybe she's new. I'm just visiting you, mutter. You don't wait for permission. Room 214 is empty now. Sterile, echoing. The bed is made too neatly. The walls don't remember her laughter, or the beep of the IV, or the way she used to make jokes about the pudding. But you do. You press your hand against the wall and whisper, "I'm here." Then you head to the third floor. The utility closet is exactly where she said it would be. It's marked "Authorized Personnel Only," which you ignore with the grace of a man who's too tired for rules. Inside mops gloves, an ancient vacuum that smells like bad decisions. You count tiles on the wall, tap along the right side. It's stupid. You feel stupid. Then you hear it. A hollow knock. You pry at the edge, and a panel swings open. Inside a small box, metal, cool to the touch. You take it out. It's heavier than it looks. There's a key taped to the top. A label, "Do not open here." You nearly laugh. Of course not. She wants you to suffer just a little longer. You close the panel, return to the car. The dog stares at the box like it's ticking. You drive back to the cabin, snow falling again. Naturally, because the weather is now on her side. You light a fire, place the box in front of it. Pour yourself a glass of wine, her favorite bottle, hidden behind the logs with a note. Finally, you earned it. You smile, unlock the box. Inside a cassette tape, a hand-cranked player, and a stack of Polaroids, her handwriting on the back of each one. Some are of you. Some are of places you haven't seen. Some are of her at different ages, laughing, thinking, crying. And one in particular stands out. She's sitting at a typewriter. Behind her, the stranger. She's younger, barely aged, same eyes, same quiet. On the back, your wife has written. Her name is Verity. You sit very still. She named the woman, gave her form, gave her place. Play the tape, the next note says. You do, and there she is again. Her voice older, slower, but sure. Verity has been with me since Prague. She found me again and again. I don't know who she is, not really, but I trust her. A pause. She told me something, that you would see her too, eventually. You glance toward the window, and there she is, Verity, standing just beyond the porch beneath the same crooked pine, looking straight at you, not smiling, just waiting. You don't move. Verity doesn't either. She just stands there beneath the pine tree, framed by snow and silence like a punctuation mark the world hasn't figured out yet. She's not a hallucination. You're sure of it now. Hallucinations don't fog the glass. They don't blink. And they definitely don't wave, which she does slowly, like she's signaling a plane you didn't know you were flying. You step outside. The cold is immediate, biting through your sweater like consequence. Your breath plumes in front of you, but hers doesn't. You try not to notice. The snow crunches under your boots as you approach. The dog doesn't growl, doesn't bark, just stands behind you. Tail neutral, head tilted, like even he knows this moment isn't for him. Verity, you ask. She nods. Of course she does. She never speaks first. She told me you'd be here, you say. She told me you'd come back, Verity replies finally. Her voice is impossible. Familiar and new, sharp and soft, like déjà vu wearing perfume. What are you, you ask? A guide, a ghost? Verity tilts her head. A witness. You swallow. Witness to what? To you, to her, to what love becomes after it breaks. Her words hit like weather. Not painful, just big. Too big. She gestures to the woods behind the cabin. It's time. For what? You already know. You do. Of course you do. She walks. You follow. It's not far. Maybe half a mile. Through trees that hold snow like secrets. Through wind that whispers but doesn't sting. You don't ask where you're going. You already feel it deep in your chest where her voice used to echo when you couldn't sleep. Finally you arrive, a clearing, and in the center a bench, a plaque. You step forward, brush the snow off the metal. It reads, "For him so he never forgets what love looked like." Your knees buckle but you don't fall. Next to the bench a time capsule, real this time. Buried in a concrete box, Verity hands you the key. You unlock it. Inside one last letter, and a ring. Not your wedding ring. This one's different, older, simpler, worn down like a river stone. You open the letter. Hi again. This is the real end. You close your eyes. Brace yourself. I buried this here before I got too sick to walk this far. With Verity's help, she said you'd need one final truth, not about me, about you. You breathe out slowly. The air trembles with you. You always thought you were just the one left behind. But you were the one chosen, over and over, even when I didn't know how to show it. A pause in the text, a gap in the ink. I knew you'd survive me, not because you're tough, because you're kind, because you remember, and because you'll love again. You flinch, but you read on. Don't let me be your last chapter. Let me be your favorite, but not your only. Historians still argue whether Shakespeare wrote his plays alone or in collaboration with secret co-authors. It doesn't matter. The plays remain. The words endure. The love still rings, even if the hands that wrote it are dust. She continues, if Verity hasn't vanished yet, ask her one question. What did you promise her in Prague? You look up sharply. Verity stands unmoving. What did I promise you, you ask? She steps forward, and for the first time she smiles. You said if she ever forgot who she was, you'd remind her. And now that you've forgotten who you are, she sent me back to do the same. You swallow the lump in your throat. She didn't send you. Verity shakes her head gently. No, you did, a long time ago. When you said you'd do anything for her even after the end. She steps back, begins to fade. You've done enough, she says, barely audible now. Go back. Live. And just like that, she's gone. No sound, no wind. Just the stillness of something sacred finishing itself. You return to the cabin. The dog follows quietly. You sit on the bench before going inside. Watch the trees. Let the silence bloom around you. There's nothing left to solve. No more letters, no more riddles. Just a ring, a memory, and a beginning disguised as an ending. Inside the cabin, you light the fire one last time. Not for heat, for closure. You pour the last of the wine. Lift your glass. To the one who knew me better than I did. Then you whisper something only she would understand. It's not goodbye, it's thank you. You wake up the next morning to sunlight so warm it feels out of place. It floods the cabin like someone turned the brightness up on your life. Not aggressively, not rudely, just insistently. You blink against it, and for a moment, one tiny, impossible moment, you think she might be there in the kitchen, humming off-key and boiling water for one of her weird teas. But no, you're alone, at least physically, and for once that doesn't feel like punishment. The dog stretches beside the fire legs, kicking into the air, like he's dreaming of chasing something, maybe her, maybe squirrels. You smile, a real one, the kind that starts in your throat and makes its way to your eyes without asking permission. There are no more letters, no more clues, no mysterious women in the woods. You checked 3 times. What remains is you. You standing in a cabin built from secrets and healing with nothing left to uncover except yourself. The morning passes quietly. You open windows, let the air in. You sweep the floors not because they need it, but because it feels like a way to honor the space. In the closet you find the red coat again. You wrap it around your shoulders not because you're cold, but because it smells like her. Lavender, cedar, and something you can't name. Maybe memory, maybe goodbye. There's a final note taped to the bottom of the coat's inside lining. You almost miss it. If you're still reading, you're officially too sentimental. I love that about you. Now pack up. There's life to catch up on. You laugh. It startles a bird outside the window. You follow her instructions one last time. You load up the car. The dog jumps in happily, as if he's been waiting for this moment the whole time. Not the grieving, not the letters, but the part where you finally move. And before you lock the door, you leave one thing behind: a photo. The two of you on your first anniversary. Wind in her hair, your eyes crinkled with a joy you'd forgotten you were capable of. You tape it to the fridge with a magnet shaped like a typewriter. You whisper thank you for everything, then shut the door. Driving back feels different than the way up. You notice things, the way light filters through the trees, the curve of the road that used to make her squeal in mock terror. You don't flinch when a song comes on that used to make you cry. You let it play. Back home, you walk through the house like you've just returned from a long trip, which you have. Not miles, but memories. Letters. Time. You don't clean up the holiday decorations, not yet. You leave them another week, maybe two. Because they don't feel painful anymore. They feel earned. And that night you write your own letter. To her maybe. To yourself probably. You don't even know yet, but you write and you smile and you remember. And when you sleep, you dream of her again. But this time you catch up. Wind down 300 words. Now the story fades. The lights dim slowly around the cabin in your mind. And the trees fall into soft shadow. Outside the wind no longer howls, it hums. And the last flakes of snow drift gently, not urgently, as if they know their work is done. Your breathing slows, not because you're tired, but because you've been holding your breath for so long. Now you can finally exhale. The weight on your chest, the one made of memory and silence and unsent messages, it's lighter now. Not gone, never gone, but carried differently. You've walked the map she left behind, step by painful step, from the cemetery to the attic, to the stranger's eyes, to the cabin in the woods. And through it all, you weren't really alone. You were walking with her, and in a way, with yourself. Love doesn't disappear, it changes shape. Sometimes it shows up as grief, sometimes as laughter at the wrong moment. Sometimes as a letter that arrives when you need it most. Tonight, as you lie in your bed, or on your couch, or in the back seat of your car, wherever this story found, you know this. You are not unfinished. You are not broken. You are someone who was loved so deeply, it echoed through letters and laughter and snow. And maybe, just maybe, that kind of love never really leaves. Now close your eyes. Let the world go quiet. Let the hum of the fan, the warmth of the blanket, the rhythm of your own heartbeat carry you gently forward. And if you dream tonight, let it be of snow and her and the day you finally caught up. Good night. End of script. Sweet dreams.